Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Flycast Partners presentation. My name is Rich Longo, your host, and thank you for joining us for a joint presentation from Ivanti and Carahsoft on asset management. This is a virtual lunch and learn that is being presented by Flycast Partners' very own SC, one of our SCs, Bobby McCullough. And Bobby has well over 2 decades selling, implementing, and supporting a variety of solutions, including IT service, IT operations, financial management, utilization management, asset management, infrastructure management, change management, incident management, expense management, and integration, and IT operations analytics. He has configured demonstration systems using JSON file ingestion through Application API in Python, and has added value in multiple product engagements, providing overall solution views and clarity. His extensive experience in lean methodologies and proven record of designing and implementing more efficient and cost-effective procedures and technologies is invaluable. Before we get started, Bobby, let me introduce a little bit about Flycast Partners. Flycast offers best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, enterprise service management, and workload automation spaces using ITIL best practices. Our professional services team has well over 5,600 professional services engagements, both on-site and remote. Of course, that remote part is pretty important with everything we've gone through over the last year. In addition, as an organization, we have accumulated well over 1,200 regular customers that keep coming back to us throughout Canada and the United States. I encourage you to reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST, that's 844-359-2278, or you can chat with us Monday through Friday during normal business hours on our website. On the right-hand side, there's a little chat box. Those folks are there to help you get the data sheets or white papers, to help you seek the training that you need, help you find any services that you might require, even help out with L1 support, or just answer questions about anything off the wall. They're there for you. And if you don't want to use those two methods, you can always email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Now, during today's presentation, we will take your questions live. Bobby is happy to answer any of your questions. I'll read them off to him, and he'll answer whatever you send us. And this is a virtual lunch and learn. So all those of you in attendance today in the next 5 business days will receive an email directly from Domino's headquarters for a gift card towards your Domino's pizza. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to the star of the hour, Mr. Bobby McCullough. Bobby, it's all yours. You're driving, sir.
Great. Thanks, Rich. Thanks for having me. Welcome, everybody. We're going to talk today about Ivanti's IT asset management solution. I've got a little bit of slideware we'll go through, and then we'll jump over into the product. So today, IT asset managers are reassessing how they define IT assets as digital technology proves itself as a business value and how indispensable it can be. This new definition breaks constraints of traditional accounting definition used to determine value, but it acknowledges that the relationship between digital technology and IT is no longer a direct one. This views all technology assets as true business assets. You know, it's in the past, IT has been really a cost center, and now IT is a value center. And Gartner's recognizing that, as you can see here from this quote, technology asset, the definition of a technology asset, and specifically that these assets must be governed and managed using ITAM principles or best practices. So where are we? What's the current situation looks like? Well, digital business is driving rapid changes in the way technology assets are deployed, used, and managed. Many organizations are still relying on spreadsheets. I'm sure some of you on the call today are probably shaking your head when I say that. And using spreadsheets to track your assets is not only time consuming and inefficient, but it's also unreliable. ITAM, or asset management, gives you the ability to track contracts, regulatory compliance, and also have visibility into your total cost of ownership. So the truth hurts. You can probably identify with some of these numbers. Over 75% of organizations admit to over licensing for fear of audits. Organizations spend 10 hours a week resolving data accuracy issues, and 30% spend more than 25 hours a week. So that's a lot of time, tracking down problems, shuffling through paper, and really none of us want to spend our time doing things like that. So what does ITAM do? Well, ITAM can provide you returns with your investment, and help transform your organization from a cost center to a value center. Organizations can see, and you can see some of the sources of these numbers: 30% reduction in software spend with software asset management tools and processes. Managing software just by itself can lead to 25% real cost savings just by applying the principles. So you need concrete answers. You've got pain around asset management. What do you have? Which really it's more than what do you have. It's what you have. Where is it located, and who's responsible for it? And those questions really are expanding. What is it? Not just what it cost. What's it currently costing on an ongoing basis? What is its history of upgrades and license upgrades and things? How is it performing? Should you spend money on a new asset to replace that one? All of those type of questions need answers, and an asset management solution is really the only way that you can reasonably supply all of these answers. Now, you've got to take lots of data sources into account to get a holistic view of your estate. If you're not using an asset management system, you've got the procurement system over in another department. You've got your spreadsheets. Bill over in telecom may have a Rolodex, so his may not even be in an electronic form. There's just lots of data out there that's disparate and really doesn't provide you a holistic view of what your estate or your enterprise looks like. And so that's really the first step, bringing that data together through a combination of discovery and understanding your entitlement. Discovery is what you expect. That's where you're going to go out on your with whatever discovery tool you use and uncover your hardware, software, your virtual environments, what your utilization of those systems are. But at the same time, you've got contracts, licenses, maintenance contracts, expiration dates for warranties and things like that, that really all apply to that. And so that's really where asset management sort of is that the two sides of the one coin. It's a physical side, and it's also a financial side. The asset management solution will apply normalization and reconciliation to that data so that then you can actually get visibility into your environment, understand what your compliance position is with regards to software or hardware. And it's really key, again, moving from a cost center to a value center to understand what your compliance position is. So this slide, it talks about why executives care, but this is why you care as well. There's really five items here on why ITAM matters to organizations. So the first is asset availability and performance. You've got to know what you've got. You've got to know what's available, but you also want to know how is it performing? Are people using it? Is it meeting your needs? And without an asset management solution, those questions are very, very difficult to answer. You end up just seeing the spend and hearing the complaints. And that's not a good position to be in. That's a cost center type position. Cost of ownership and allocation. So, maybe you know what it initially costs to purchase, but what's it cost to maintain? What's it costing you to use it? Who's paying for that? Where is that allocated out? Are you able to defend your budgets? And without that kind of insight, without that kind of visibility into your environment, you've really got no way to achieve or enforce accountability. With a lot of government and larger public entities, you're concerned with contract compliance and risk management. You can't afford exposure time or the money of an audit. So what are you going to do? Well, doing nothing does not address that issue. Security is always a top concern. So understanding what you've got, understanding what your license position is, so that you're there in case of an audit, understanding where you fall with GDPR, SOX, HIPAA, and other regulatory requirements. That's very critical and can be very costly if you're not prepared when those type of audits come along. The end user experience. This is something that really, Rich talked about my 20 years in the industry. This is something I've been talking about for that entire time, is the Amazon experience. Your end user customers go home and they order whatever they want. I've had laundry detergent delivered, as well as a bathroom mirror delivered from Amazon. I didn't have to talk to anyone. I might have said hi to the UPS man when he dropped it off, but I knew what I was ordering. I knew when it was going to come. I knew what my options were. It was a great end user experience. Well, your end user customers expect that same type of experience. And without having an asset management solution to govern what's going on with those assets, managing the life cycle and provisioning of those assets, it's very difficult to provide that end user experience. Scaling the business. This is something that everyone gets asked about. We've got a big push. We need to be able to scale. Are you going to be able to do it? That's key. And without understanding, having the full at your fingertips visibility into that estate, your organizational environment, is very, very difficult to scale the business. You might get lucky, but luck is no way to operate. It's better to have a plan and a process in place, and that's what ITAM allows you to do, so that you can understand where costs are, where costs will come from, and what you can do to scale the business. Finally, enterprise fiscal accountability. Moving IT from a cost center to a value center, it ends that IT black hole. You can report at your fingertips what any particular service or any particular asset might be costing. Provide the allocation information so that you're able to budget that back to the appropriate department, or maybe you wanted to be able to support chargeback. That's something that telecom did for years, and IT has shied away from. But that more and more IT organizations are looking at that as IT moves from a cost center to a value center, looking at chargeback models so that you can better allocate, better budget, and better provide accountability within your organization. So what can Ivanti provide you with? So Asset Manager, which we'll take a look at here in just a second. Asset Manager gives you really a window into the details for hardware asset management. We can do a little software asset management in there. We'll talk about that. But it gives you insight into your vendors, your product catalog, your purchase orders, individual assets, and the history, the life cycle of those assets. But then we've also got a license optimizer solution that allows us to really understand our license position within our estate, with any licensed product, any software licensed product. Lots of good data visualizations or analytics built into the tool that that can help. So how do we get you there? Well, really, there are basically three products that make up the ITAM discipline with Ivanti. The first is Asset Manager that we've been talking about. Primarily for hardware Asset Manager, we do have some software capabilities in there, which we'll take a look at. There's also License Optimizer for clients and Optimizer for servers. And this allows you to optimize that software estate. If you're at risk for an audit from Microsoft, Adobe, Oracle, or someone, these are the tools that can help you prepare for that and know that you're ready whenever that audit occurs. And then finally, these all come together under the Asset Management Suite to give you that holistic view of what's going on in your environment. So, Rich, do we have any questions before I jump over and start and take a look at the software?
We don't have any questions so far. And folks, I want to encourage you to type those questions in. As you can tell, I have been responding to all of you. We've got like 20 people that have reached out to me through the questions things, but no questions about the software yet. Folks, type your questions in. I will read them off for Bobby, and he'll answer as many questions as time will allow today.
Great. So folks, this is our asset management solution, the Ivanti Asset Manager. This runs on the same platform as Service Manager that Service Manager runs on. And so really, it's just an integrated single solution with role access. The role determines what you can see and what you can do to what you see, and a whole suite of roles available out of the box. And again, you're seeing asset roles as well as Service Manager roles, all here from the single platform. Within those roles, you've got dashboards that are assigned. As an administrator, you can create your own dashboards and publish them to the different roles. As a user, you can determine which of those dashboards is your default, so that when you log into that role, that's sort of your home page, your default screen. But then you've got access to the other dashboards as well, just by clicking them here in the menu. Now, we talked about governance, and that's really one of the key elements of asset management. Key best practices is providing governance within your environment. And the first place the best place that we can demonstrate that governance is through a product catalog. It can be a little crazy without a product catalog. Your end users can request anything and everything, and then it's up to you to try to support it. And having a product catalog allows you to limit those choices, allows you to govern those choices, so that they're only able to select those items that you've determined they can select. And then you're able to then manage against that with replacement models that you might predefine for your catalog items, suggested alternatives for a catalog item. So really you're applying that governance, those limitations to your end users, so that you can provide a good end user experience for them as well. Now, the Ivanti solution is sort of, I've used this analogy several times. It's built a little bit like a Rubik's Cube. So you can twist and turn and see it from multiple perspectives. So this is a Dell PowerEdge catalog item, and I've got all my details about it. All of those Dell PowerEdges are the same part number, the same model number, the same asset type. They're going to weigh the same, those type of things. Where they're going to differ is what you've done with them. Are they assigned? Are they in stock? Are they on order? So you're going to be able to track all of those attributes, all those statuses, and understand where your items are. And notice, again, when it's on order, it still appears under my assets with a status of on order. Here, I don't even have a serial number for it yet. So I've sort of got this stub record that allows me to begin that life cycle tracking that you're going to want to do with your assets. So again, that Rubik's Cube view. So we're looking at all assets, regardless of where they are. Now we're just looking at assets for this particular catalog item that are in stock. So I know I've got 2 of these in my Chicago office, and it looks like I've got 3 in my Salt Lake office. So in addition to those views, I'm able to see my active orders. So which of these catalog items are currently on order? These are links, so I can jump over to that purchase order element and see all that I need about managing that purchase order, the line items that are associated with it, my vendor scorecard. When I interact with my vendor, regardless of where it is in the solution, I've got an ability to register a scorecard, and then those scorecards will then roll up to that vendor itself for a performance rating. Very, very handy feature, very helpful at contract negotiation time, and just understanding the type of vendor that you're having to interact with. We'll come back to this purchase order here if we have enough time.
And I do have a question here. This comes from Stanley. Great. And Stanley wants to know, how do you position yourselves with other SAM tool vendors such as ServiceNow, SAM Pro, and Flexura?
Well, you're asking me, so I obviously feel that we're the better solution compared to those. I know ServiceNow is a leader in IT solutions. The issue with ServiceNow is the configuration that's required. You've got out of the box pre-configured catalogs. We've already configured a hardware asset form for you so that we can capture everything that we need on the hardware assets. So hopefully you're going to have a little quicker time to value with the Ivanti solution than you might have from those other solutions.
Thank you, sir.
Did that okay? So let's move on. We've talked a little bit about governance here. What are we able to see around our assets? And so these hardware assets are the same items that you'll see on a service desk solution from your CMDB. But we just present them separately as hardware and software here within the asset management solution. And let's go down and take a look at this server. So we'll be able to track everything we need to know about this server. This is the out-of-the-box form, so that we can track that information. If there's something that you need that we're not already tracking, it's easy to add to this form. If there's something here that you never need, we can remove it, relabel it, and repurpose it, whatever we need, to make this form yours. And that's really true across the board for all of these business objects that we're talking about. So you get that value out of the box where we're applying idle best practices to the design of these forms, but then you're able to configure them for your own purposes. Notice here, we've got the catalog information you kind of expect. Who is responsible and where is it located? Right here on the front page, Ivanti does a great job bringing to your attention those things that need your attention, so you can see right away who's responsible and where. And also warranty information. When does the warranty expire on this? What's the useful life for this device? In a previous work life, I helped an organization create an asset management package. And one of the things I kind of complained to them about was we have to know more than just its status. We also have to know how the device is being used. And that's all of these additional fields here. What environment is this asset a part of? What use policy does it fall under? What risks do we have with sensitivity, security, regulatory, and so on? So you really can define for your staff how that asset is being used to help them better support what's going on with that asset. We can integrate with what. Go ahead.
Okay, this comes from Brian. Yeah, this comes from Brian, and it's kind of a two-parter or probably a continuation of the same question. How do other infrastructure components get associated with a particular CI? things like switches, applications, users using the applications, location, and where it's being used, etc.
Okay. So let me address. I got a little feedback there, guys. I'm sorry. So let me address the second half of that question, and then we'll come back to the switches and routers and hubs. So with your discovery solution is going to pull back your inventory, your hardware assets as a part of that solution. We'll pull in the software discovery as well. We'll understand when that software has been last used, and usage frequency. Now, this is obviously a factor that comes from your discovery solution. Ivanti has an endpoint manager discovery solution that actually it integrates here with Asset Manager to help bring this information in. And next month, we're actually going to have another webinar, another lunch and learn around EPM and mobility management, and talk about the new Mobile Iron acquisition that Ivanti just made. So that's the first part of that on how that information will get in. Switches, routers, hubs, those type of devices. Your discovery solution should be able to find those. Your management tools for those devices a lot of times have discovery capabilities to bring that data in, and then we can integrate that with Asset Manager and have all of that data here within the solution.
Okay, and we have another question coming in from Michelle. Michelle wants to know if you can show the software asset module too, please.
If we have enough time today, I want to get through this. I'll try to pull that up. I wasn't really prepared for that, but I don't mind flying without a net for a second there if we have enough time.
Thanks, Bobby.
No problem. So you're also able to define your relationships. So with if your discovery solution can provide those upstream and downstream relationships, that's importable as well. You can also define those manually here on the assets, and that really sort of covers the physical. I talked about the two sides of the same coin. That really kind of covers the physical, where it is, what it is, how is it used, who's responsible. Now we've got the other side of that coin, the financial. What contracts were associated with this, with the purchase, with maybe a software entitlement, that's a part of it, and just general maintenance of the servers as well. So you're going to be able to track all those contracts. Use my go-to button here to jump over to my contract line item, so I can see this particular line item. This was a part of a purchase. I could see what contract it was under, what's the termination details, all of the information that you need to manage this contract line item, including what purchase orders have utilized this contract, what assets do we have out in the system. So all of those things that you need to keep up with the history and understand what's happened regarding a purchase. We talked about the vendor and the vendor scorecard already. How are we going to allocate the cost for this item out, either for budgeting purposes or for a chargeback or just reporting purposes? You're able to provide this allocation information and understand that breakdown. Now, financial transactions. This is where we are able to keep up with the total cost of ownership associated with the asset. When we purchase that asset, there was obviously a cost associated with it. That comes in and creates this financial transaction record. And then in the Ivanti solution, the service desk solution, we have the ability to automatically apply financial transactions from ticketing that we may do regarding this asset. Those financial transactions can either be manual that you've created, or they can be automatic from the type of ticket that's selected. But either way, those roll up here to the asset and give you a total cost of ownership. So there's no fumbling through paper to see, didn't we do something with this last year, maintenance wise, that cost, you're not looking for any of that. You come to one place, look at one number, and that's the answer to your questions.
And we have a moment. We have a couple more questions.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, we've got another one from Stanley. Stanley says, did I hear it correctly that Ivanti does not have Discovery scanning agent, agent-based, or agentless-based?
No, Ivanti does have, through the endpoint manager solution, Ivanti has both agent and agentless scanning available.
Okay, and the next question comes from Philip. Philip wants to know, are there hooks into Workday or other in-house ERP systems?
So the solution has an open API, and I'd have to check to see. I believe that Workday is one that's available. I have to check though to make sure. Generally speaking, though, those integrations are a lot of times just really custom built with that open API based on whatever your needs are. And so we're definitely able to integrate with ERP, other purchasing systems, procurement systems, so that that maybe that procurement process starts here and then pushes out to another system. Maybe it starts on another system and then it updates information for you. The idea is all of your questions can be answered through the asset manager solution. So we'll need to integrate with those other systems that are handling any part of that process that where there's any data related to it that you're going to want to help you manage these assets. Any other questions, Rich?
That's all we have for the moment.
Okay. So here we're at inventory transactions, and this is that life cycle. So I'm able to understand where this asset has been, when was it purchased, where was it moved to, who moved it, all of that type of information right here at my fingertips. And finally, audit history. Any of these objects that we talked about up here, we're able to turn on audit history. And then once turned on, you're able to define which fields you're going to track. And so here you can determine when a change was made to the field, who made the change, what type of change, and then what was it before and what was it changed to. So that full governance and audit capability right there from the hardware. So software is managed just a little bit differently in the solution. So here, let's take a look at our Microsoft assets. So software assets are defined as entitlements. And so here we've got an asset that's from Microsoft. It's SQL Server 2008. And when I purchase licenses for this, I'm actually purchasing entitlements. How many licenses am I going to get? I'm not sure why this isn't displaying. Here we go. How many licenses am I going to get? And the system will keep track of those entitlements. So as you make those purchases, it will add to your total entitlement quantity. But as those assets are discovered, assigned to hardware, then we're going to decrement your available quantity. And so through that process, you're able to keep up with software where there's an audit risk. You're able to keep up with where you are on your license position. Now, this is a very simplified way of keeping up with software. There's some requirements on your side to ensure that you're staying consistent with your titling. That doesn't always happen when you buy from different vendors. Sometimes it comes with small changes in the wording and the title and stuff, so that you have to keep up with that. With the Ivanti License Optimizer solution, we actually have some reconciliation to help with that. And again, if we have enough time, I'll try to pull that up. So you can see here how this is a little bit different. We're looking at a software package, how many entitlements we have, and where those are deployed. And obviously we can define relationships as well. You might have particular software packages related to other software packages. You're able to define that upstream and downstream relationship, just like you are with your hardware. Rich, are there any more questions? It's a good spot to stop for a second.
No, they've gone surprisingly silent. Folks, type in your questions. That's what this is all about. Get your questions answered while Bobby is on with us today.
So, Rich, while that comes up, so one of the nice things about Ivanti Asset Manager being built on the service management platform is that the process is seamless of moving a request from the service desk team over to the asset team. It's the very same ticket, very same record in the system. We just call it something different. Over on the asset side, we call it an asset request. And so from your normal processing of this record, utilizing Ivanti's workflow engine, you can take it through its approval processes and all those steps that you would expect. And then along the way, it's going to come over to the asset team for assignment. And then the asset team is going to be able to take this ticket, and let's go in and edit the request. I can see what's being requested. It's for this guy out of the Chicago office. And so if I come down here, I've got 4 of these in stock. And so I can go ahead and flag this for fulfillment. It'll decrement it from inventory. It'll be flagged as being a part of this ticket, and inhibit you from using it on another ticket. But I also might come here and find out that I have no stock. And so in those cases where I have no stock, I'm able right here from my screen to create a purchase order. Just click the new button and it opens up. And again, this form is configurable by you. Maybe this starts the process and integrates with your procurement purchasing system. Maybe it's self-contained. Whatever that process is, we can work with you to help with the workflow and the management here through the tool. But again, directly from that service request, we can generate that purchase order. And then you've got the complete visibility into what's going on, whether that's happening once we're integrated with your other systems, then you've got 360-degree view of your asset and the financials behind it, so that you can answer any question that you might need regarding your assets. Looks like there may be another question, Rich.
Yes, there are. Hang on one second here. Let me blow this up. From an external standpoint, is there a way to ring fence SW entitlements between physical and virtual? Can you monitor asset warranty? Or for audits, can you monitor asset warranty? That's like a couple different at once. It looks like a couple things going. So, one's from Dan and one's from.
So asset warranties are no problem. It's out of the box. There's really no way to differentiate between virtual entitlements. On the entitlement itself, obviously here we have an asset type of computer server. And so our virtual devices, I believe, show up under a different category there. So you would see that right from the screen. Yeah, right here, virtual client, virtual server. These don't have that particular software package on it. So when I go here, I don't see that. But here under my software asset, when I see my entitlements that have been assigned, I would see right away which ones are in the virtual environments.
Okay, we have a little more here.
Okay.
The next one is focusing mostly on DP licensing. And then there's another question. Can the Ivanti ITAM solution be integrated with the ServiceNow platform? We've already had an established ServiceNow ITSM solution without ITAM.
Sure. We definitely can. And if you're really just focused on your database licensing, this is a great way to be able to manage that. This doesn't need the full-blown license optimizer that someone asked about earlier. If you're just managing those database licenses, you're okay. Anything else? Any follow up or anything? We got about 5 minutes. I thought I might jump over and talk about License Optimizer for just a minute.
Yeah, no, we don't have anything additional. So go ahead and jump on License Optimizer, and we'll see if anything else pops up. Oh, here's one other one. Can you use barcodes for assets?
You sure can. We have scanning capabilities with the hardware. We've got some recommendations on some terminals, some devices that we've worked with. But quite frankly, this is really through an open API and flat file import, and any device that's programmable that uses those methods, we likely can work with it to get what you need out of it. So let's talk about License Optimizer for just a second here. We've got just a couple more minutes. So this is a really nice tool. This really goes beyond what we're able to do over in Asset Manager with regards to software. But because, as I mentioned, you've got depending on where you get your software from, depending on what time of the year you get your license, the stuff can be called different things. And so the solution gives you a way to recognize all of those different terminologies, and allows it so that it can understand, just because it's called blue and this one's called yellow, they're both the same thing. And we're going to handle them as the same thing here in the solution. So you're going to understand, first of all, how that reconciliation occurs, and help the system reconcile that data, help it bring that data together, and then use that to reconcile what's out there in your environment. It will bring in periodically this. Go back to my dashboard here. I apologize, my system's a little slow. Out of the box dashboards to show you really where you are in all areas on your in your software estate, operating system installs, end of life installations, unmatched software. This is where you've got different names, Microsoft SQL Server 2008 versus MS 2008 SQL Server, versus SQL Server 2008. Gives you that information so you've got to help the system understand those differences. Once you help teach it what those differences are, then the system understands it and can move on without other input. But understanding things like end of life installs, install counts by title, really where you are in your license position, and at a fingertip be able to generate the reports you need to ensure that you're in compliance and not at risk from an audit. Rich, was there another question?
We have a couple more questions. Dan wants to know, is this cloud-based or on-prem? And also, can you see when the asset moves, like laptops, etc.?
See when the laptop moves. So you're asking, you've got a laptop, the Discovery solution pulls back, it's in one particular location, it's moved to a new location, and does the system recognize that that's been moved? The answer is yes. The system actually has this, we've got dashboards and reports around this discrepancy. And so here I understand that I'm assigned to Andrew and it's in the London office, but when I scanned it, Bill was the last person to use it in the Salt Lake office. So I can understand that and help clear up that discrepancy.
On-prem or cloud?
Asset Manager is either, and License Optimizer is in the cloud. License Optimizer really kind of, if you're not doing any machine learning or AI, License Optimizer might be your first taste of it. And that's why it's in the cloud, or some of that's happening kind of behind the scenes for you.
Well, Bobby, we've run out of time, but you got a plethora of thank yous here for the presentation. A lot of folks
Good
that
deal.
really diving in and all your hard work today. Thank you for your time. Folks, if you have any additional questions, we tried to answer as many as we could during the time allocated. Go ahead and give us a call at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. Or by all means, chat with us. We have people monitoring that Monday through Friday during normal business hours. They're happy to answer any question you have, get you any demos or any type of white papers or data sheets or anything that you need. Or you can email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Thank you, audience, for taking time out of your busy days to join us. And thank you again, Bobby.
No problem. Be sure to look for the webinar next month on EPM and mobility management.
Very good. And Michelle will take care of you getting your demo of the software module. I'll go ahead and forward that on to the appropriate folks, and we'll make sure you get a demo of that product. We're happy to do that. With that being said, folks, until our next presentation, everyone stay safe out there.